said this was a good area for hitchhiking. And why are you only talking in beeps? Something weird's going on. It's almost like this is taking place earlier than stuff we've already seen, which is very confusing, but possibly quite clever. I don't like the sound of that though. Oh no! Zombie traders! Dee, why have you had your hair done like that?
It's a homage.
Is that some sort of pie? Christ.
This is the closest thing to any sort of religious text or spirituality that as a people, as Americans, we can all identify with, because this is basically the sum total of our culture, you know, samurais and spaceships.
I've been here since April 30th for the start of Star Wars, May 19th.
We arrived here April 13th. Me and a few other guys. And we got kicked out by the cops a few days later.
I wasn't even conceived when Star Wars came out for the very first time.
Nobody is just gonna come walking up the street and saying they're in front of us. That will not happen, and people around me will make sure that does not happen either. Because there will be a major problem if it does happen.
When Star Wars opened, it coined the phrase blockbuster, you know, because at the Mann's Chinese Theater when it opened in '77, it was going around the block.
That was a theater where the original Star Wars movie premiered. George Lucas was actually sitting across the road eating a hamburger with his wife when he saw people lining up for a movie along here, and he didn't realize it was his own movie.
This is kind of like Star Wars all over, the original, A New Hope all over again for my generation.
We thought we'd try to recreate that hype, but on a much bigger scale for The Phantom Menace.
It was our idea to wait here for 3 weeks to see this film.
Kenobi, where are you from?
I'm from England.
It was our idea to go out and spend $9.50 just to see a 2-minute and 20-second trailer. I downloaded all of the TV spots. I have them all on my computer. I have the trailer on my computer. I have everything Star Wars, and I just can't wait for this.
At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last, we'll have our revenge.
It was just so cool to see it on the big screen and hear the rumble of the subwoofer and all that stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this movie.
Like my friend and myself have probably had sex more times in our lives than everybody online put together.
As Lucas said, he's making this for the fans. He's not making this for, you know, the general population, Joe Schmo off the street. This movie is being made for the hardcore Star Wars fans who want to see the first 3 movies.
He and his movies have, gotten me through some times in my life.
I mean, he's amazing, and he's humble, and he's all of that.
He's going to stay true. He's not going to sell out.
You know, when I was like 14, my mother would, hey, there was something about Star Wars in the paper, I clipped it out for you, and, I'd keep it.
I believe that he'll make sure to make a movie that'll please the true fans.
He has a great heart. The message is positive.
I keep clippings, when he got divorced, etc.
I'm sure he does an amazing thing with all of the, money he makes.
But do you have him in the site the entire time? Because I'm, fondling him like he's, a close friend.
I'm just afraid that maybe, he'll leave, the rights to his kid or something in his will, and then, his kid will become, some sort of, crack fiend. That's what I'm afraid of. And suck old men's toes for crack money, and then he'll sell the rights or something for some rock.
You forgot the batteries.
Star Wars started the merchandising. On one hand, it can seem cynical and they're trying to milk it for every penny they can.
I've been bumping these off briskly at $100 a pop.
On the other hand, I see these toys, they're cool, I want them.
These haven't been out of the box for 22 years.
I have this little like 6-inch or 5-inch Yoda with like a cloth robe and stuff, and like he totally rocks. Like the way his hands are positioned, right? You can put cigarettes in his mouth so it looks like he smokes.
In Germany, I'm in my room with all the collectibles about Star Wars and put the helmet on, and suddenly I disappear. And then there's a cut and I appear in New York.
$100. He's gone. Gone. This is the one for my personal collection.
Those are the people I hate, because I was at Toys R Us at midnight, 12:01, when they were selling those toys, and people like that grab like 8 or 9 of those figures. They have to have everything's got to be perfect, and then they go and they sell them for like $30 or $40, and that's the reason why Star Wars fans like me cannot get what we want.
I kind of stole one from a little kid, which was kind of cool, but you know. It was Boba Fett, which I love Boba Fett. And like the kid had the last one, but his mom wasn't around, right? So I kind of like rolled up to the kid and I saw you had the last Boba Fett. And like the kid's probably, what's he gonna do with Boba Fett, really? I mean, so I was like, hey, you know, you're not allowed to take that out of this aisle unless, you know, your parents are with you. And he was like, oh, okay. So he put it down and he went to get his mom, and I snatched it up and ran to the cash register.
This lightsaber isn't mine, unfortunately.
Well, the lightsaber duels have to stop.
What is this?
Because someone's going to get severely violated with one of those sooner or later.
Some Star Wars fans just totally trash on Star Trek because they might be kind of jealous, because I would say that Star Trek is a little more organized, like the fandom is a little more in there, and there's a lot more to like be a fan of. You know, there's 4 series, an animated series, 9 movies. So there's a little bit of jealousy there.
Is this the kind of violence we want to show our children now? Yes, where's your Yoda now? Where's your Yoda now? Move this one way,
Everyone knows Darth Vader. We all know Luke Skywalker. You know, it's kind of cool. It just becomes such a deep part of our culture that you can say the Force. I can just say to you the Force, and you know what I'm talking about. I don't even got to say anything else.
Everything in our society, or at least in the way I see it, was shaped by that movie. We're the generation, and it is, in a sense, our religious culture.
Throughout history, people in the Middle Ages went to churches, or they go to shrines, and they had this feeling in that. You know, in the 20th century, it's not always like this. We have mass media and entertainment.
You got a crowd of people, they're congregating, they're sharing their experience for the most part, they're sharing their knowledge, and really geeky, trivial knowledge and stuff.
I like the fact that it's quasi-religious and spiritual, but in a very sort of fashionable and easy to understand way. It means a lot to me.
I guess it's better than, say, worshiping like a cult and like committing suicide for some god who just really doesn't exist. But I think you could find better things to do with your life. If you can like build a career around Star Wars, it's good. But otherwise, you know, just try to keep it like 1 or 2 hours a day. Don't totally obsess over it. It's wrong.
I don't believe that, you know, there's actually a galaxy far, far away. Well, actually I do.
These people should be praying right now to Jesus, or at least sitting at home and watching television or something.
Here for NY Lounge Countdown during the stand-a-thon for the Starlight Children's Foundation, and we have been here since May 1st.
It's interesting. I think press is about equal to the number of people here so far, which is perhaps indicative of the circumstance of Star Wars.
If I'm in an Obi-Wan robe, then I sort of can step out of my meteorologist shoes for a second and just go nuts with it.
Why are we covering it? I don't know. You know, I helped George Lucas market his movie.
Are you still listening?
The other people that use the Force were in like movies that grossed $100 million, and I used the Force and we didn't make squat. You know, our movie tanked.
I want to be in the next one.
With Star Wars being on the cover of Time one week, Newsweek the next week, you know, stories on it every day in USA Today for the past month or so, I think it's very much become a mainstream phenomena.
The fact that it's making headline news is really bizarre to me.
there's like so many issues, like so many incredible things going on in the world right now, and like people in the media are like so focused on Star Wars. This is Star Wars fans. Like it's just bizarre. America's funny that way.
I don't know how many networks were actually here, as well as independent people, documentaries were being made, but it was incredible. Every major network was here.
I know fans here who have been interviewed over and over again by media who just don't know what they're talking about, and it gets really annoying.
We had a local evening program come out here. It's a half-hour show that's on every night, and they spent the whole time calling us freaks and making fun of us and calling one of our guys, saying that he was raised by wolves.
And when I think it was Fox 5 asked me why don't I get a life instead of wasting my time here, and what do I say to people who say that? And I say to them, I think you're jealous because you really wish you could be here.
The news radio people are just fucking idiots. They're the stupidest people on the earth, you know. They ask you the same damn questions over and over and over, and then they don't want to listen to your answer.
Well, the silliest one that I've been asked, like, do I dream of a particular character or characters in the Star Wars trilogy? I thought that was a little odd. Like, no. I mean, not to say I've never dreamt about Star Wars characters.
I'm what's called an undercover nerd.
When I took my job, I told my boss that when Star Wars comes out, I need time off work, and I've been working it for 5 years, so that was 5 years ago that I warned them that I was taking this day out, so they really had nothing to say about it.
Undercover nerds are people who can dress in public and talk to regular people, but at home we have secret stashes of Japanese cartoons.
I haven't met anyone here who's a geek or who doesn't have a life or who's foolish.
I don't really see us any different than football fans that paint their faces and stand nude in 40 below degrees or whatever they do. And I'm really shocked at the animosity from the media towards us by calling us freaks and idiots and wackos.
After episode 3, I don't know. I figure I'm either going to leave the country or stick dynamite in my ass and blow myself up in the theater after it's over. Because what the hell, you know, like, there's no more. That's it. No more Star Wars.
What are you going to do if the movie really sucks?
Probably see it again.
Yeah,
we'll probably see. Yeah, we'll have to see it again.
I can't see any way that it could suck, but if it does, I'm just gonna have to slit my wrist.
It's not gonna suck, man. There's no way the movie can suck. There's just no way the movie can suck. Don't see that.
There is no way it's gonna suck.
Well, it could suck.
It could not suck. How could it suck? We've seen 2 trailers. They both rocked.
Well, you know,
how could that?
Well, maybe not.
Once the opening scroll starts, I'm gonna be in ecstasy.
There's gonna be people crying here, you know?
We're going to see the movie tonight. Opening night.
What time?
First night, 12:01.
45 minutes.
Best theater in New York City.
How do you know we're Star Wars fans? Well, right here we got somebody important. It's going to be named after a character from Episode 1.
This is the best night and the best audience to see this film. There'll be nothing like it.
I don't fucking care if this movie is just like alien bestiality. I'm still gonna be down. Gonna love this. You know why? Because it's Star Wars.
Oh man!
Come on! I'm on my way in.
My number one experience is getting married. And number two, I was a company commander in the Gulf War, and I brought back 150 of my guys back from the war not injured. And this is number three. It sounds so corny, man, but that's exactly how I feel. It's really great.
I don't know what George Lucas was doing with those visuals, but I'm overwhelmed.
I had no idea what that movie was about.
What's going on? Why's the slug chained you up?
Parody famous science fiction film, is it?
Huh?
Maybe sadomasochistic role-playing, though, could it be?
Why are you talking like that?
Rescue her, must you, wearing dressing gown and holding stick of light, if possible.
What?
Use the power of the mind, must you puppy.
Hey?
I'm here standing in line and it's 1:15, and there's two lines. There's another line for tickets after the first showing, and I just can't understand what people are standing in line for if they're not going to see the first show.
Tickets go on sale in 5 minutes.
I've never experienced anything like this before in my life. I don't think I ever will again, and that's why I'm here. It's just I had to be able to say that I was here.
1,200 tickets, please. Just two.
I'm a medical student. You know, I should be in bed, waking up, going to class this morning, but, you know, I'm dedicated. I want to see it. You know, I took it upon myself to be here all night, skip class today, you know, just to get tickets. Because, I mean, it means more to be there the first night. Saturday, Sunday, next week, it won't be the same.
How freaky can I sound? I believe in Star Wars completely. I believe in it in the same way people believe in myths. Like I don't believe that it actually happened, but I believe that it's, I believe in it as a religious statement and as a parable of something that could have happened in a society that may well have once structured itself around something called the Force. It's the only thing I've ever seen that makes me completely believe it. I mean, I've dismissed the religions that I grew up with, and I ended up with Star Wars.
Well, the Force is actually, it penetrates us and binds us. It brings all living things together, and it's here, man. I mean, look at this. This is the Force.
You know, it's got all the elements of classical fairy tales or mythology. And so, you know, just like all the old fairy tales and myths used to be, everybody finds a place in it, and this is our postmodern fairy tale, and, you know, they all need something to cling on to, so that's why they're here.
The thing that differentiates from Star Trek is that Trekkies, as well, I'm not saying every Trekkie, but a lot of Trekkies live for Star Trek, but everyone can take Star Wars with a pinch of salt, and it's just good fun, that's all.
My name is Leia, and I have homeschooling, and I'm in process of writing a book.
And you came here on opening day. You're seeing the first show here at
First
Johnson Theater.
Yes, all other appointments were canceled just to make sure that we were here. It took her about a year to write her book. She started when she was 11. She's created new worlds and new people.
New characters.
New worlds, all to coincide with the Star Wars theme.
You should see my room. I have nothing but Star Wars books to do research on. So I have enough free shirts, you could say, to actually be George Lucas.
And that's our next step.
George Lucas wasn't satisfied. He took Star Wars from what was the best in 1977 to what is the best now in 1997.
But it's like colorizing Casablanca or something. Do you really want to do that?
It's that.
They made a great film in They made a great film in '77. Well, it's like changing a classic film. They made a great film.
As far as I know, he was sick of it. But for his fans, he went out of his way to do it for us.
This is my great fear. I have this great fear that George is going to die before he makes the 9th movie. Like he's going to make 8, right? And then number 9, he's just going to kick the bucket. And we were talking about this yesterday. There's all these things that have happened. Like I think Beethoven died after the 9th Symphony. And this guy knows this theory of 9s or something, where all these people have died before their 9th, whatever, their 9th thing. And there's 9 movies to Star Wars. And George might kick it. That would suck. I wouldn't know what happened in the end. Doesn't that frighten you in any way?
I think the most outrageous thing I've done is come out of a warm house, with the idea that I would get a ticket, within 45 minutes of starting time.
And do you have any Star Wars fantasies?
Princess Leia.
Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
It's actually one of the few films that makes me want to belong within the story. I think that's what makes a top-notch film.
There were always the rumors of the prequels years and years ago, and I thought how cool it would be, if they used me as the young Luke Skywalker. Every preteen's dream.
I wanted to be Luke so bad that I wanted to dye my hair, but Mom didn't go for that one.
And then you get older, and then you get hard, and you think, oh no, I wanted to be like Han, Basically, I can't imagine a world where Star Wars didn't exist. I honestly think I can't think of a way, say, Ronald Reagan influenced my life the way, say, something Star Wars did, like Star Wars did.
The Strategic Defense Initiative has been labeled Star Wars, but it isn't about war. It's about peace. And in that struggle, if you'll pardon my stealing a film line, the Force is with us.
I was like little, and he started calling everything Star Wars. I thought that, that the government was like actually going to go try and find Chewbacca or something like that. It was very confusing. Now, it's all passé. I guess, did they ever do it? Did they make it? Like, I thought it sounded cool at the time. It was like going to be missiles in space and like shit like that. But
the biggest influence it had on me was when I was like 19 or 18 years old. Before I was legal, going to bars, I always tried to do the Jedi mind trick. There's a point in Star Wars, they get stopped by the stormtroopers and say, "We need to see your identification." Obi-Wan Kenobi goes, "You don't need to see our identification." And I was trying that.
Gee, I think I left my ID in my other pants. Look, we're in kind of a hurry.
These aren't the drones you want.
These aren't the drones we want.
You don't want to detain us.
We don't want to detain you.
And you know what? Only one time did somebody actually know what I was doing. They were as big a dork as I was, and they actually knew what I was saying. And
so did they let you in?
No.
I have Star Wars paraphernalia because my friend brought it with me so that we could play with it for a while. Sure. It's the Millennium Falcon, yeah. It's, apparently it has a ripcord to it, and if you put it on a table with the ripcord, it would spin around, but we don't have that part.
I used to have an R2-D2 original cookie jar, but I have 3 cats and I knocked it off the shelf, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, I've got the old Death Star set up with the, the paper sides and the plastic turbo lift.
I had the Planet Hoth, had all the action figures. I think my neighbor stole it. It's still a controversy in my family. So subsequently, I've been purchasing anything I can get on my hands of Star Wars, and I've never opened it out of the box. I still have everything. It's just completely in its box. I don't know how.
The box alone is worth $150.
I got the videos in pan and scan versions, widescreen versions, THX versions, Laserdisc versions, TV version which had different takes in it.
This is Luke Skywalker's jacket from the Empire Strikes Back, and it cost a lot. But the great thing is that it's actually a nice jacket, and my girlfriend still doesn't know that it's a Star Wars related item, so I could keep,
Oh, the posters. Oh man, I got the posters framed on a dry mount with black metal frame with glass. It's amazing.
Have you ever dressed up as a Star Wars character?
No, I mean, I'm not like one of those weird Trekkie guys that comes
No,
in.
for Halloween.
No.
When I was a kid, I used to go into Newberry's and steal all the action figures. back in New Jersey, and I used to go back the next day and steal all the weapons that I missed. And I used to stuff them in my socks. I used to stuff them. I know it's very unbefitting of a Jedi Knight to do something like that, but that's probably the craziest thing I've done was rip off Star Wars figures. I'm sorry, George Lucas. I didn't mean to bust into your profits, but dude, I needed Luke with the green lightsaber.
I can't choose, so I wore them both. That was the best thing I could figure out.
Okay, there's that Chewbacca guy, and you probably see him.
He's right there.
Yeah, that guy. He, at some point before the movie started, just ran in front, between the front row and the theater, and everybody just started going nuts. Everybody started cheering for him.
It was screaming and screaming, and then right when it was about to begin, it stopped. It complete silence. And then when it started, the crowd just went crazy.
So my theory is, if you're old enough to have seen Star Wars in the theaters and you went, then you're Generation X. But if you didn't go, if you weren't old enough to go, if you weren't born yet, you're not in my generation. Because I can't communicate with somebody that doesn't know who the hell Darth Vader is.
I was 4 years old, and I mean, everybody laughs at me. They say that I don't remember, but I do.
I saw it here 20 years ago.
When I was 3 and a half, my mom was taking me out of nursery school to go see this.
Had to wait all the way around the corner and around the side.
I kept falling asleep in the theaters before they blew up the Death Star.
I thought Star Wars, when I didn't know anything about it, I thought Star Wars was about movie stars, like Hollywood actors, bickering.
No, I mean, it was sort of complicated until I realized it was just basically good versus bad.
Instead, I went to see For the Love of Benji.
I remember that my mom took me to the first movie and she dropped me off with my movie money and she said, listen, I know you're going to worry about the robots, so they don't get hurt. Have a nice time.
And the TIE fighters were good or bad, and the X-Wings were good or bad, and it was very complicated for me at first, but I'm okay now.
I just felt that in order to fulfill my destiny as a human being on this earth, I had to see it in the theater all the way through, and to make up for lost time, I'm seeing it 5 times tonight.
I got here on time, got in to see the first show, and I was blown away by it, and now, now I can go on with my childhood.
We've all seen it a billion times before. It's just the opportunity to sit in the theater with 1,500 freaks and
yeah, I told my boss I needed today off because I had all these unexpected visitors coming in from out of town, and I wanted to hang out with them because they're going to be like at the airport for 2 hours, is what I told him. And then I came here, and now he's going to see this, and I'm going to be fired.